the Plaid Avenger.com, where we just don't want to hear the news. We want to understand that news. And first off, let me give my apologies for such an extended inter-semester hiatus. But I'm back in rare form and going to kick it off, coming to you live from Tunis, Tunisia, kablamo. Because unless you've been hooked up to a hookah for the last month, you probably heard something about a big uprising and overthrow and revolution in this small Arab state of Tunisia, bordering the Mediterranean. That's right. And while it's important for Tunisians that they had a revolution, the Plaid Avenger's here to tell you it's actually a way bigger deal to other Arab states across the entire Middle Eastern region, and dare I say, the world. I dare, I just said it. This is a big story. Let's entitle this one, Arab Angst about Tumultuous Tunisia. Got to love the alliteration. I still got it, baby. All right, well, let's try to do a very, very rapid rundown of exactly what happened. The bare minimum you need to know. This dude named Zine Ben Ali, President Ben Ali to you and me, ex-president now, but President Ben Ali, the leader of Tunisia since 1987. Yeah, he's been in office like 25 freaking years. Him and his family have spent the last 20 years kind of consolidating power and wealth to themselves and their cronies and their friends, taking away kind of civil rights from folks, very slowly consolidating all power to them. They have all control over Tunisia. And by the way, this is a situation very similar to other states in the Middle East, but I'll come back to that. As he's been consolidating power, you know, he got away with it because all leaders can get away with it as long as times are good. Citizens of any country don't really pay attention to what the hell the government's doing while you're in good economic times, while everybody's fat and happy. When, you know, the economy's continuing to grow and food prices are good and unemployment's low, everything's good. So what if the government's taking our civil rights? We don't care. But a tricky thing happens in states that are doing well and consolidating power to the top is that while life improves for people, they get more stuff and more richer, and they get more education and social benefits, and then they get smarter, and they start to pay attention. And those people that are educated and started paying attention start to kind of despise repression, corruption, and the fact that they have no real political voice because it's been taken away from them oh so slowly. And that's exactly what's happened in Tunisia. Tunisia basically for the last 30 years has been booming. They've been actually a role model of the Middle East. Their economy, they don't got no oil, by the way, but their economy has continued to grow year after year, decade after decade. They've done very well. A lot of international investment in industry, but on top of that, a lot of international investment from the film industries. I know. What film? What are you talking about? You have seen parts of Tunisia without even knowing you've seen parts of Tunisia. What am I talking about? Well, you ever seen this little film called Star Wars? Yeah, Star Wars, Tatooine, that's right. Mos Eisley Spaceport, that's all in Tunisia, man. The deserts of southern Tunisia. As are most of the scenes that are supposed to be in Cairo in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones wasn't in Egypt. They were in Tunisia. A lot of international filming happens in this place. And on top of that, with their awesome Mediterranean climate, Mediterranean location, they were a magnet for tourism. European tourism exploded. So their economy was doing really, really well. But then the fun ran out. And in the last several years, things have gotten tough. Very tough in the last several months. Unemployment's gone through the roof. Food prices gone through the roof. Compounded, of course, by the world recession. And peeps started to get pissed. The average Tunisian started to have a not so great life. And then they kind of woke up from this fog of the last 20 years of, and now we're just getting that we have lost all political voice as well because Ben Ali and his crew hold all the cards. This got compounded because there was an election a few years ago where Ben Ali supposedly won like 80 or 90% of the electorate. It was a joke. Everybody's like, we hate this guy now. This election is now a sham, and now we're fully awake that this is a nonsense state. This is not a democracy. We don't have a voice. And this gets a lot hotter just in the last couple months when one of these Wikileaks things happen. You might have heard about the Wikileaks. There was a bunch of U.S. diplomats cabled stuff back from Tunis saying, holy crap, the president's family and his friends are wildly corrupt. They are taking all of the money. The average man's getting poorer and they're getting richer at the same time. And this place could have trouble brewing. And indeed, it did. When those WikiLeaks came out just 2 months ago, but it's like, what? Oh, we already hated this guy. Now we really hate him. And it got really hot on December 17th of last year, just before Christmas, when people in Tunis basically took to the streets to protest and say, hey, our government sucks. You suck. Please leave. Ben Ali, stand down. And of course, governments do what they typically do in this situation. They crush the protest. So the protest got crushed, but then a very bizarre thing happened, which nobody could have predicted. And that is a dude in a feat of protest and absolute political frustration about what was happening in his country set himself on fire. What? He set his own Arab ass on fire, basically committing public suicide. And never underestimate the power of a public suicide, by the way. When this happened, the streets all over Tunisia that were set ablaze themselves. People used this guy as the rallying post of, holy crap! Yes, this is serious. Look how passionate this dude was. He killed himself to protest the government. And when the protests got even bigger, then the government sent in the police and the military to crush them even harder. And they killed 60 or 70 of their own citizens. Ooh, that's bad karma, because that just gets people more pissed off than ever before. The government, for their part, said that this was all an anti-terrorism thing. And anytime you see a government pulling out the anti-terrorism card to kill their own citizens, you know they're in trouble. They're on their last leg, and that's exactly what Ben Ali and his government found themselves in. The violence continued to spiral and ramp up, and to the point that everybody knew the writing was on the wall. And President, now ex-President, Ben Ali hauled ass on January 14th, hanging out now in Saudi Arabia. And that's no coincidence he's there, but we'll come back to that as well. So Tunisia's now rebuilding itself, and it's still sketch and it's still chaotic, but they did wipe out the old government. They're going to have something new, give people a political voice, maybe some sort of democratization, true democratization on its way. We shall see. Now, why did all this happen? Corruption and consolidation of power in very few hands, into the political leadership's hands, which is common across the Middle East, followed by hard times. When people ain't getting fed, when people are unemployed, and they have to blame somebody, and they're going to blame the government. And on top of that, the public has no vent for their opinion. There's no place for them to go to outcry. There's no way they can vote the guy out of office. Everybody knows he's corrupt. So there is no place for public opposition, for public opinion, for public protest. The only viable option is complete and utter overthrow of the government, and that is what happened. By the way, this is why democracy totally kicks ass. Because in democracies, when people get really pissed off and take to the streets, they vote the bums out. They don't have to catch themselves on fire or blow up their own country or kill a lot of people. That's why democracy is so awesome. Now, back to point. This is important in Tunisia, no doubt about it. To my Tunisian friends, job well done. But it's actually not that big a deal in world events and world history. This situation is actually way more important to the Arab world in general, to Arab states across all of the Middle East. The impacts will be much bigger there, and they're already being felt. Why is this? The situation as it just went down in Tunisia is almost exactly the situation across most of Middle Eastern states. Almost identical. The political structure, the consolidation of power and economic power, almost to a T, with dissatisfied populations. This is happening all over the Middle East. In fact, no one, including yours, Plaid, truly, would have predicted or thought that this type of revolution would have occurred in Tunisia, because there's a shit ton of other places where it's way hotter, and it's been way hotter for a way longer period of time.